On Saturday night?
Yep.
Oh,
You want
we'll be
anything
switching
involved?
corporate services
no.
with
No, I'm on the
public
road at
works
home.
next week?
Okay, we'd like to welcome everybody to meeting number 577, Town of Grand Falls, Windsor Council. Before we get into the regular order of business tonight, we do have a proclamation to read, and it's for the longest day of smiles, which will be June 18th, 2023. Whereas Operation Smile Canada is a global medical charity providing free life-changing surgeries and medical care to children born with cleft conditions around the world. And whereas every 3 minutes a child is born with a cleft condition, and lack of access to safe, effective surgery means that easily treatable conditions like cleft lip and cleft palate can become fatal. And whereas Operation Smile Canada believes every child born with a cleft condition deserves exceptional surgical care. And whereas the longest day of smiles will unite Canadians from coast to coast as they raise awareness and funds, and whereas the June 18th, 2023, the citizens of Grand Falls, Windsor are encouraged to learn more about how to support this worthy cause by visiting www.longestdayofsmiles.ca. And whereas our community can help celebrate the longest day of smiles by posting #LongestDayOfSmiles on social media. And therefore, I, Barry Manuel, Mayor of Grand Falls, Windsor, do hereby proclaim June 18th, 2023 as Longest Day of Smiles in Grand Falls, Windsor, and commend its thoughtful observance to all citizens in our municipality. We do have a couple of absences tonight that I'll mention. First of all, our CAO, Mr. Finn, is away and unable to attend tonight, and Councillor Little is attending graduation, the cap and gown ceremony at the Botwood High School where he teaches. So pass along their regrets. And with that, we'll move into the regular order of business. First order is the adoption of the minutes from meeting number 576. Any errors or omissions? Hearing none, I'll look for a mover and a seconder. Councillor Cody, seconded by Councillor Knoll. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Business arising. Any business arising out of the minutes? No business arising. We'll move into committee report, disbursement report. Councillor Dwyer, please.
Mayor, I move the disbursement report dated May 17th, 2023 in the amount of $546,671.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Dwyer, seconded by Deputy Mayor Brown. Any discussion on the disbursement report? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay, committee reports. First up is Community Services. Deputy Mayor Brown, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Committee of the Whole met 6 p.m. Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023. President with myself as chair. Myself as chair, Councillor Holly Dwyer, Councillor Andrew Little, Councillor Amy Cody, Councillor Bob Hiscock, Councillor Dave Knoll. Staff in attendance were Darren Finn, our Chief Administrative Officer, Robin Hannaford, our Communications Officer, and Todd Mercer, our Director of Community Services. And I'll restate the date was May 16th, 2023 at 5 p.m. Maritime Junior A hockey presentation from Glenn Casey. The committee met with Glenn Casey, who was looking at purchasing a Maritime Junior A franchise to play out of Grand Falls, Windsor. Mr. Casey highlighted the league format with a 25-game schedule, the league's accomplishments, the fan base, and what a team would do for the Grand Falls, Windsor community. The committee recommends that Mr. Casey work with our Director of Community Services to identify all requirements that Council would need in support of hosting a team in Grand Falls, Windsor, and to offer other general non-financial support for Mr. Casey while he navigates through his acquisition process. GFA 50th Reunion and Motorcade. The committee discussed the correspondence from the GFA 50th Reunion Committee. The committee recommended that the Chief Municipal Enforcement Officer work with the group to ensure the motorcade has a safe route and assist with providing them support along the way. Duo Insurance Correspondence. The committee reviewed correspondence from Duo Insurance about their insurance products offerings to non-profit groups who carry out activities in town facilities. The committee recommended that the Chief Administrative Officer follow up with the town's own insurance company to see if this additional insurance is a benefit to the user groups and report the findings back at a later meeting. Skate park update. The committee reviewed the drawing for the layout of the new skate park equipment and pump track. The committee recommends that the Director of Community Services and the Director of Public Works and Development order the new equipment and start the necessary site development work required before the equipment arrives. The committee also recommended that the town look into having evening summer students carry out security at the facility and install a camera in the area for additional support. The committee also suggested that the municipal enforcement officers make regular visits to the site and talk to the users throughout the summer and fall. Maintenance for summer fields. The committee discussed the work required to get the sports fields and playgrounds ready for the summer season. The director informed the committee that he has met with Public Works and Development staff and work is ongoing and that all fields should be ready to go for the start of each group's spring sessions. The director also informed the committee that he received some correspondence from parents about required equipment repairs on some playgrounds. The director informed the committee that this work will be carried out in the coming weeks. Economic development update. The committee reviewed a staff report and encouraged the director to continue moving all files forward. Swing for Rotary Park. The committee reviewed the quote for a new supplier for the Rotary Park swing. The committee recommends that the director purchase a new swing and have it installed before the end of the summer season. Other business. The director informed the committee that staff have ordered some promotional items and can expect delivery by next month on the hats and bags well before the tourism season arrives. The committee discussed putting down the portable floor for gymnastics and the grad. The committee recommended that the director work with the groups to ensure they have a successful event. However, due to limited staff resources, the floor cannot be installed. The director informed the committee he has received the commemorative application form from Judith Baker and has met with the Parks and Recreation Supervisor to identify a location. The tree is a memoriam to Aubrey and Jeffrey Copley and will be installed in the green space by Sutherland Drive and Goodger Avenue, the closest location to their requested area. The committee has some discussion on our annual cleanup campaign, which is ongoing in the community. The committee would like to thank all the user groups and businesses who participated in making Grand Falls-Windsor clean and beautiful. The committee also suggested that the communication officer post some pictures of local businesses who have taken the time to beautify their properties. The committee discussed the possibility of opening the Windsor Stadium earlier than expected due to high demand. With the stadium already rented for other summer events, the committee recommends that the director work with Impact Hockey to consider options for ice in 2024. The committee has some discussion on directional signs around town promoting the dog park. The director informed the committee that the Director of Public Works and Development has highlighted the areas in town for sign placement and will have them installed in the coming months. The meeting adjourned at 7:15 p.m. and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Deputy Mayor. For a seconder, Councillor Dwyer. Before I ask for any discussion, I guess I should note that I was present at that meeting and not listed as being there. So if we could change that. Any discussion on the community services minutes? Councillor Knoll and then Councillor Hiscock.
Just like to take a second to discuss Mr. Casey's request to put a Maritime Junior A hockey team here in Grand Falls-Windsor, and I just think it's a great idea. We've tried several times to rejuvenate the cataracts, and I know that we grew up with them and lived with them, and we loved that time and period in hockey. But talking to other people now who have seen some of the Junior A hockey, and they talk about the caliber of hockey, and I think it's probably a great opportunity moving forward for both the town and perhaps a new recreation facility to merge and marry both of those going forward. I think it's an excellent opportunity for the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. And Mr. Casey. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure, and certainly I think all council agrees with that, and it was good to see someone take that on. I believe the plan is for the Maritime Junior A League to look for expansion into our province and include several teams in Newfoundland and Labrador. As you said, with the cataracts, and right now, it doesn't look like, they'll be back anytime soon, not at the level that we're used to seeing certainly in the last decade or two. So having a Junior A team here and having teams come in from all over Atlantic Canada would be huge. I really think that hockey fans in Grand Falls-Windsor would really embrace a Junior A team. You'd have a lot of young people. Obviously, there'd be people from Newfoundland and Labrador, but also outside of the province living here in Grand Falls-Windsor. I know Maritime Junior A are very big into community involvement, so I'm sure the team would be involved with schools and minor hockey, etc. And, it's another thing that we get to enjoy, I guess, during the winter season when it comes to entertainment. At this point, of course, as everybody knows, there's been no financial requests, and we don't expect anything of the town of any significance other than some in-kind support. And, of course, the dressing room space and things that may have to be done to make sure that they're accommodated as they should be and the different teams are getting the treatment that they're used to, I guess, at the facility is something that the town will be looking at. So definitely good news. Thanks for that. Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to talk about, if I may, the cleanup campaign. Just a great job done by a bunch of different organizations within our community to spruce it up. And I think, I stand corrected, but I think it was over 1,000 bags that we have collected now or more. And it's an ongoing thing. And it was great. And one night, Deputy Mayor and Councillor Dwyer and Councillor Knoll and Councillor Cody and myself and our CAO was out one night and picking up some, and it was a great night. It was a good laugh, and but it was nice to see that the town is looking great, and we'd like to just tell the residents to try to keep it that way and watch what they're doing with the litter and, put it in its proper place. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's some mixed feelings when it comes to that. Over 1,000 bags is good work by the community groups, but it also shows, we do this every year, so to see that much litter being picked up every year says that a lot needs to be improved when it comes to people's habits. And of course, should mention, for several years now, council had decided to approach community groups because we have a lot of community groups in town who are looking for fundraising opportunities, and this way we were able to separate the town into a grid pattern, and a community group would come forward, they would take an area of town, clean it, and then we would give them a $500 contribution. I believe it's still $500, is it? $300? Okay, so $300 for the group for their efforts, and that's a win-win for us to be able to support groups and get the cleanup done. Great job. And also the businesses too needs to be, because there are some businesses that have done a lot of work, and they need to be commended for sure. Any other discussion or comment? Hearing none, I guess the only thing I'd mention is the dog park sign reference, and absolutely, we all know that we need to, we had a signage strategy that was implemented a long time ago now. It was, I think, before my time, so 10 years goes by in a hurry. But as we know, driving around town, there's a lot of signs that are in need of replacement, and, it would be advantageous, I think, for the town to do an inventory now of our signs in town and look at where we're lacking, especially when it comes to pointing people in the direction of some of our facilities and some of the services that we have. And a dog park, there's no doubt we got a nice dog park. It's right next to the highway, and it would bring people off the highway. And I should mention as well that we do have a signage a study done and beautification, et cetera, for Cromer Avenue and the TCH section that runs through town. It's something that was completed a few years ago. And like everything else, it takes money, and it's always a challenge to do everything you want to do, but we do have that on the shelf for when funding agencies come calling with some opportunities for funding, and that would see a lot of improvement on our highway as well, which is much needed, I think, to improve the aesthetic value of the corridor and also the Cromer Avenue area. Being able to plant some trees and just make it a little more appealing to the eye, because I believe some 75% of the traffic that enters Grand Falls-Windsor, they enter through that four-way cloverleaf at Cromer Avenue. And there are some work that can be done in that area around the Cloverleaf as well. It's all provincial government property. We have talked to them before. You know, it did grow up a lot with evergreen trees. I think the Scouts might have planted a lot of those at one point. But I think it's in need of, you know, and we've talked to government about that. They don't want us doing any work on it ourselves, but it would be nice to have that as what you see first when you're going through Grand Falls-Windsor, because as we know, psychologically, you're going to get that good feeling, and if you feel that it looks good there, it's a good chance that they'll feel better and more inclined to come into town and enjoy the rest of the things that there are to do and see. So I just wanted to mention that. Any other comments on the community services? Hearing none, we're going to move her in a seconder. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Public Works and Development, Councillor Cody, please.
Thank you, Mayor.
Sorry.
It's okay. Old habits die hard.
Yes, sir.
Public Works and Development met on Wednesday, May 17th at 5 p.m. In attendance, myself as the chair, Deputy Mayor Mike Brown, Councillor Bob Hiscock, Councillor Dave Knoll, Councillor Holly Dwyer, Councillor Andrew Little. Staff included Darren Finn, Chief Administrative Officer, Nelson Chapman, Director of Public Works and Development, and Robin Hannaford, Communications Officer. Smokehouse Building. The committee reviewed a draft report from a structural engineer on the current condition of the smokehouse building on the training facility on New Bay Road. It is recommended that the building not be used for training at this time. It is possible to look at repairs, but staff feel it would be too costly and recommend demolition of the structure. The fire chief also recommended replacing with sea cans for future training. Other jurisdictions use this type of setup for training. The committee recommends that the structure be demolished and to add the purchase of sea cans to the list for future capital expenditures. Rezoning request for Northcliffe Street. The committee reviewed a request from staff to rezone the proposed development of Northcliffe Street in the Harmsworth subdivision from single-unit urban residential zone, RS3, to low and medium-density multi-unit residential zone, RM1. The rezoning will help generate additional lots for multi-unit construction within the area of single-family dwellings. The committee recommends this be approved and staff commence the rezoning process. Land request for 43 Birch Street. The committee reviewed a request from a resident at 43 Birch Street to purchase 242 meters squared of backland. The request is to obtain additional yard space and to construct a vegetable garden. The committee recommends this be approved and sold as per the town's land sales policy. Proposed road on Queensway. The committee reviewed a request from staff to obtain an 18-meter right-of-way adjacent to the Excite Center on Queensway. This would allow a new street access, including new infrastructure, that would make more land available for residential development. The committee recommends staff go through the necessary steps to acquire the land and bring it back to a future meeting for discussion. Rezoning request for 1 St. Catherine Street. The committee reviewed the latest plan from the owner of 1 St. Catherine Street to rezone the property. The latest proposal is to rezone the old Millcrest School property from Public Use Zone, PU, to low and medium density multi-unit residential zone, RM1, and to leave the area of the gymnasium. The rezoning will allow the developer to create additional housing units. The committee recommends that this be approved and for staff to continue with the rezoning process. Household Hazardous Waste Day. The committee reviewed the report from the Household Hazardous Waste Day that was held on May 6, 2023. The committee was pleased with the turnout and looks forward to the next event that is scheduled for October 21st, 2023. Saturday drop-off memo. The committee reviewed a draft internal memo to Public Works supervisors on the operation of the Saturday drop-off. The memo breaks down the expectations for the operation of the site and changes that will help ensure all residents that arrive in time will not be turned away. There we go. The committee recommends that the Saturday drop-off continue to operate from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and communicate to the public that they must be at the site in the lineup by 3:30 p.m. to be guaranteed they will be offloaded. Residents arriving after 3:30 may be turned away if the site is busy. The meeting adjourned at 6:50 p.m., and I move the recommendations and the report of the committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Cody, seconded by Councillor Hiscock. Any discussion on the Public Works Development minutes? Councillor Cody.
Just oh my gosh, my fingers aren't working today. They're too cold. We got to turn up the heat. Just a note on the Saturday drop-off, just to clarify. There have been some instances at the Saturday drop-off when it has been extremely busy, and the site does close at 4. And there have been times when the lineup has been way up Tulette Drive, long past 4 p.m. So what we are proposing and what we're suggesting to do here is that we recommend that you be in the lineup by 3:30. If if there is extreme amount of traffic and users on that day, at 3:30, staff will be monitoring, and we will put out a barrier at 3:30. And anybody who arrives after that time, will possibly be turned away. If they can get through it quickly, if there's small loads and whatnot, staff will continue to monitor. But we just want residents to be aware that, there is a possibility on very heavy days that you may not be able to access the site if you don't get there before 3:30. And we don't want to do that, but sometimes people wait till the end of the day to go out there, and then you get a long lineup. It mightn't be busy all day, but then, come 3 o'clock, you get a large amount of vehicles showing up, and it puts a lot of strain on the staff. And the operator is PBO as well, so their staff actually do leave at 4 o'clock. So then it's our staff who are left to kind of continue the operation until everybody is serviced. So, just keep in mind that we recommend you be there by 3:30. Staff will monitor if there's not a lineup, you should have no trouble getting through. There will be no barriers put out at 3:30 unless, of course, there is excessive traffic. And they won't bar, like if you're already in the lineup at 3:30, they're not going to put a barrier up in front of your vehicle and say, sorry, you can't access. It'll be anybody who shows up. So the last person in the line at 3:30 on a very heavy day, well, then that's where the cutoff will start. So, and if there are any issues, we would encourage residents and users of the facility to reach out to us and let us know. But again, this is, it's something to help ensure that the site maintains its operation as it's intended to, and that our staff and that are able to service our residents the way that it's expected to operate. So again, it's new to us. But we appreciate any feedback that residents could provide to us on, how it's working.
Yeah, no, it's spread the word, I guess, let people know, and we'll be doing our own communication to try to get the word out on that. We never want to turn anybody away, but as Councillor Cody said, there's been times when it seems like it's a never-ending line, and it continues to be there late into the evening, so it is recommended that you be there before 3:30 to make sure that you can get your refuse unloaded. Any other comments? Councillor Hiscock and then Councillor Knoll.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to speak upon about the smokehouse building. Unfortunately, the building itself is condemned. It served very well for the training that it's done over the years, and as a cost-saving measure, we're implementing now to get some C-cans, because they can be configured and designed for whatever the fire department needs for the training. So as a cost-saving measure, and also the C-cans have been used by a number of communities throughout Newfoundland. And so this is the reason why we're going that way, Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, that facility on New Bay Road has been a part of thousands and thousands of hours of training, for sure, and it's served its purpose, but C-cans can do the job, as you said. Councillor Knoll.
Thank you, Mayor. Just like to address the Household Hazardous Waste Day. In conversation with lots of students over the past few months, I just yakking with them about their batteries and what do they do with them, and most of them say, well, they look a bit sheepishly, and they say, well, they lob them in the garbage, and I just say, boys, no, you can save those for household hazardous day, and they looked at me kind of weird, and not the first time, but I say, when that day comes by, I usually just drive by, and I got a Sobeys bag, a Dominion bag, and it's right full of batteries, and even your little flashlights that wear out over time, we give it over time, in them there's a pair of batteries, and had an old electric razor that died, and then there's a rechargeable battery, and they die as well. And you can put them all in the bag, and it's twice a year. We offer this service to the community, and I just get in the line, drive by, and we'll put that in the window and pass the bag, and the boys usually give me a smile. But there's a bag of batteries, and instead of finding them in the spring cleanup, as we sadly often do, we find batteries out and about. Put the batteries in the right place, and take advantage of this opportunity that's provided by the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. Thanks, Mayor.
Yeah, we'll say it every May and every October, and perhaps that's something, if we haven't already, Robin, our communications officer, that we could list maybe the things that would fall into a category of hazardous waste so that people would know what they should be putting aside for those dates. Any other comments on the Public Works minutes? Hearing none, I just was going to mention, there's a few things there that are related to housing, which is good to see. We've been doing a lot of talk about housing and trying to be aggressive in finding ways to get developers to move on land that's already owned or land that could be conducive to development that we much greatly need when it comes to duplexes, seniors housing particularly, and North Cliff Street, which is something that would go between Harmsworth and Rothermere, and have a number of those duplex-style houses included. And the Millcrest property, of course, that we would have residential development in a school that was abandoned, and we've talked about that before, and how that is a win-win as well. And Queensway is an interesting one because we talk about getting a right-of-way for a road to make land available. We know the land is owned by economalls, and we've been talking to our staff and councillors at times. Myself have been talking to economalls about development of that area. I know for a long time they've been looking for some anchor commercial tenants, that kind of stuff. It really hasn't come to fruition, and they're interested in discussing, because we've kind of pushed them, nudged them, I guess, in maybe having some residential development in that area. So again, a nice area of land that can be developed into a residential area, which could accommodate some of the people who are looking to move into our community, and certainly some people who are looking maybe to leave their long-time homes and move into something that's a little easier to maintain. So it's definitely great to see that in the minutes. Last chance for any comments on Public Works. Hearing none, we got a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Aye. Count reminded. Motion carried. Next up is Corporate Services. We have two sets of minutes in Corporate Services. Councillor Dwyer, if you could go through the first, please.
Following are the minutes for corporate services held 5 p.m. Thursday, May 18, 2023. Present were myself as chair, Councillor Bob Hiscock, Councillor Andrew Little, Councillor Dave Knoll, Deputy Mayor Mike Brown, and Councillor Amy Cody. Staff in attendance were Darren Finn, our Chief Administrative Officer, Robin Hannaford, Communications Officer, and Steve Goss, Director of Corporate Services. Disbursement report. The committee reviewed the disbursement report in the amount of $546,671 and recommends this be presented at the next council meeting. Taxation receivables analysis. The committee reviewed the taxation analysis for April 2023. The report analyzes the receivable balances along with the amounts collected during the month. Total taxation receivables as of April 30th, 2023, $6,976,691.92, an increase of $72,226.07, or 1.05% from the previous year. The total amount of taxes collected in April 2023 was $1,110,898. While the deadline to pay your taxes was March 31st, 2023, residents and businesses are still reminded to pay your tax bills as soon as possible to limit any interest charges. Please contact the Town Hall to pay your bill or to set up a payment plan. This meeting paused from 5:30 p.m. until 5:45 p.m., and Deputy Mayor Brown was excused for this time due to a perceived conflict of interest. Open call for bids. The committee reviewed an open call for bids for project number 17-MCW-23-00017 Maloney Street Lift Station upgrades. The committee recommends this project be awarded to Rodco Mechanical 2014 Limited in the amount of $357,000 plus HST. This amount is $100,250.58 over budget, but is work that needs to be completed in order to service the Maloney Street area. The committee reviewed an open call for bids for project number 17-GI-22-00034 Circular Road Upgrades, CIPP lining of sanitary sewer. The committee recommends this project be awarded to Afonso Group in the amount of $1,666,215 plus HST. This amount is $146,311.90 over budget for this portion of the project, but is work that is connected to the bigger circular road project and must proceed. Staff survey results and progress. The director presented the results of the staff survey from the fall of 2022. After receiving the results, management prepared an action plan that they have been following so far in 2023, which should help address any areas of concern that result from the survey results. The committee recommends that management continue to follow the steps laid out in the action plan and keep them posted on any progress moving forward. Gymnastics building. The committee discussed options for the future of gymnastics and a long-term solution for the building that they operate out of. They are currently leasing space at 44 Hardy Avenue until 2024. The committee recommends that staff explore options for long-term solutions for the gymnastics program. Business tax categories. The committee reviewed several business tax categories to determine if any changes were required based on the type of business and how it is being taxed. The committee recommends staff to do some additional work on this project and report back to a future meeting. Littering violations. Councillor Knoll brought up the amount of garbage and litter that still exists around town and inquired about fines for this activity. Staff noted that the first offense for littering is between $100 and $500, and subsequent offenses are between $500 and $1,000. Littering could also be a subject of a term of imprisonment of up to 3 months. The committee recommends that staff continue to monitor for littering violations and deal with them according to the regulations. In addition, the committee recommends that council should choose one of the remaining areas of town that have not already been cleaned by a community group and help clean up that area. Meeting adjourned at 7:45 p.m. and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Dwyer, seconded by Deputy Mayor Brown. Any discussion on the first set of corporate services minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Okay, for the second set of corporate services minutes, we'll ask Deputy Mayor to excuse us. And Councillor Dwyer, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This meeting was held at 5:30 p.m. Thursday, May 18th, 2023. Present were myself as chair, Councillor Bob Hiscock, Councillor Andrew Little, Councillor Dave Knoll, Councillor Amy Cody, Darren Finn, our CAO, Robin Hannaford, Communications Officer, and Steve Goss, Director of Corporate Services. Open call for bids. The committee reviewed an open call for bids for project number 17-MYCW-22-00007 Bank Road Water and Sewer Upgrades. The committee recommends this project be awarded to W. Reed Construction Limited in the amount of $690,550 plus HST. This amount is $59,291.81 over the original estimated cost. The meeting adjourned at 5:45 p.m., and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Dwyer, seconded by Councillor Hiscock. Any discussion on the second set of corporate services minutes? I just want to say, just for clarity, I guess that Deputy Mayor has declared himself in a perceived conflict due to some relatives who live in that area. It's questionable whether he's in conflict, but as always, we do take always safe. So that's for that. I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Now, we should have probably asked the deputy mayor, he's got to remove himself for one of the resolutions as well. So seeing he's back, we will do the other two resolutions first and leave the bank road one for third, and he'll excuse us again, and he can stay out them for one of the two sets of corporate committee of the whole as well. Thank you. Go ahead, dear Councilor Dwyer, please.
Resolution GFW 2023-365, Multi-Year Capital Works Program. Whereas the town of Grand Falls-Windsor qualifies for funding under the Provincial Multi-Year Capital Works Program. Whereas all projects and funding allocation under these agreements must be approved through the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. And whereas the town of Grand Falls-Windsor has a funding shortfall of $100,250.58 in the Multi-Year Capital Works funded project number 17-MCW-23-00017 for Maloney Street Lift Station upgrades. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Grand Falls-Windsor agrees to award the tender to Rodco Mechanical Limited in the amount of $372,301.02, less rebate, and recover any shortfall under municipal operational cost or through a Schedule A adjustment within the Multi-Year Capital Works 2020-23 funding.
Okay, thanks. It's been moved by Councilor Dwyer. Seconded by Councilor Cody. Any discussion on the resolution? And that would be the second one, I guess, listed, the first one we'll return to after we have the other two done. So seconded by Councilor Cody. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Okay, resolution number 2, Councilor Dwyer.
Resolution GFW 2023-366, 2021-2022, Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program funding. Whereas the town of Grand Falls-Windsor qualifies for funding under the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, ICIP fund, whereas all projects and funding allocation under these agreements must be approved through the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure, Municipal Infrastructure, and whereas the town of Grand Falls-Windsor has a funding shortfall of approximately $146,000 in project number 17-GI-22-00034, which is an ICIP-funded project, supporting documents attached for the Circular Road area water, storm, and sanitary sewer upgrades. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Grand Falls-Windsor agrees to award the tender to Afonso Group Limited in the amount of $1,737,628.97, less rebate, and recover the shortfall under the municipal operational cost.
Okay, it's proposed by Councilor Dwyer. Second by Councilor Cody. Any discussion on the second resolution? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Resolution passed. Okay, Deputy Mayor, if you would excuse us again, please. And Councilor Dwyer, when you're ready.
Resolution GFW 2023-364, Multi-Year Capital Works Program. Whereas the town of Grand Falls-Windsor qualifies for funding under the Provincial Multi-Year Capital Works Program. Whereas all projects and funding allocation under these agreements must be approved through the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. And whereas the town of Grand Falls-Windsor has a funding shortfall of $34,596.43, less rebate in the Multi-Year Capital Works funded project number 17-MYCW-22-00007 for Bank Road water and sewer upgrades. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Grand Falls-Windsor agrees to award the tender to W. Reed Construction Limited in the amount of $720,146.97, less rebate, and recover any shortfall under municipal operational cost or through a Schedule A adjustment within the Multi-Year Capital Works 2023-23 2020-2023 funding.
Okay, it's being proposed by Councillor Dwyer, second by Councillor Knoll. Any discussion on the third resolution? No? Before we do vote on that one, I guess we can go ahead and vote, and I'll just provide some clarity after. So, all in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion carried. So you see these resolutions from time to time on the council agenda, and, you know, just for the benefit of people who may not know why they're necessary requirement under the funding that we get from provincial and federal sources to have resolutions passed by council in order to make things official. It's legislated. We have to do it. It's not surprising to see that maybe some tenders are going to be under budgeted these days because prices in everything just continue to skyrocket. So we are looking at pricing that maybe when we looked at it a year ago has gone up a fair bit now. The other thing that people should know is that, you know, through the tender process and the Procurement Act, when we put out a tender and companies, reputable companies, bid on these tenders, you have an opening and the lowest bid gets the tender. We can't pick or choose one or the other. We can't say, no, we don't like yours, we're going to go and shop around. Doesn't happen. Our hands are totally tied on that. It's legislated. So it's important just for, I think, people to understand that. And the other thing is, you'll see in some of these, most actually, a lot of times you'll talk about reprofiling of funding, and we get multi-year capital works funding from the provincial government every 3 years. We're still waiting on our next lot, and that's another story. But we get funding, and no matter what, if we have a change in how any of that money is going to be spent and reprofiled, it has to be approved by them, and there has to be a resolution. So in many cases, it's not new money. It's just taking money that's already approved, was put in another area, and just shifting it over because it was necessary. And these are cases that, you know, necessary infrastructure work that really don't have a choice. I mean, these projects have to go ahead, and it's something that, a reality that municipalities are dealing with now as the rising costs of, you know, especially the municipal road work and water, sewer infrastructure, et cetera. So just wanted to mention that before we move on. Next up is Committee of the Whole. We do have 2 sets of minutes and one that the Deputy Mayor is in conflict. So I'd ask you, Councillor Dwyer, Councillor Cody is going to do it in the absence of the Deputy Mayor, to deal with that one when you're ready, please.
Committee of the Whole met on Tuesday, May 23rd at 5 p.m. In attendance, Mayor Barry Manuel, Councillor Amy Cody, Councillor Holly Dwyer, Councillor Bob Hiscock, Councillor Andrew Little, and Councillor Dave Knoll. Staff included Darren Finn, Chief Administrative Officer, Nelson Chapman, Director of Public Works and Development, Steve Goss, Director of Corporate Services, Town Clerk, Todd Mercer, Director of Community Services, and Robin Hannaford, Communications Officer. The Grand Falls Golf Course. The committee discussed a request from the Grand Falls Golf Club for financial assistance with a capital project to install an irrigation system. The project is valued at approximately $700,000. Council recommends that staff have more discussions with the club executive and report back to the committee. The committee meeting paused at 6 p.m. for a virtual code of conduct training session and resumed at 8. The meeting adjourned at 8:20, and I move the recommendations and the report of the committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Cody, seconded by Councillor Knoll. Any discussion on the first set of Committee of the Whole minutes? Hearing none. Pretty much says the ongoing discussions. I think there's another meeting scheduled for later this week with the golf club executive, and I'm sure there'll be more to report in the future. We've got a mover and a seconder. Any other comment? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion carried. If we could ask the Deputy Mayor to return, please. Okay, Deputy Mayor is back with us, and we do have a second set of Committee of the Whole minutes, so We'll let you get your bearings there, Deputy Mayor, and when you're ready, you can deal with the second set of committee of the whole minutes, please.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Committee of the Whole met 6 p.m. Tuesday, May 23rd. Those in attendance, myself as Chair, Mayor Barry Manuel, Councillor Amy Cody, Councillor Holly Dwyer, Councillor Bob Hiscock, Councillor Andrew Little, Councillor Dave Knoll, and staff in attendance, Darren Finner, Chief Administrative Officer, Nelson Chapman, our Director of Public Works and Development, Steve Goss, Director of Corporate Services, and Todd Mercer, our Director of Community Services. Code of Conduct Orientation Training. The committee participated in Code of Conduct orientation training that was delivered virtually. The Manager of Human Resources joined this training session and left once completed. The Director of Public Works and Development and the Director of Community Service left and did not participate in the training but rejoined the committee meeting when it ended at 8 p.m. Grand Falls House. The committee had some preliminary discussions about the recently completed business plan associated with Grand Falls House. The committee recommends staff arrange a meeting with the foundation to discuss the plan and the associated expectations of council. YMCA capital job on heat recovery unit. The committee discussed heating issues at the YMCA this past winter. The pool was particularly impacted and was forced to close on several occasions. Staff provided information about refurbishing the heat recovery unit at a cost of $58,700 plus HST. The committee recommends that staff proceed with this job as it is essential to the functioning of the YMCA building. The meeting adjourned at 9 p.m. and I'll move with the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Deputy Mayor Brown, seconded by Councillor Dwyer. Any discussion, comment on the second set of committee of the whole minutes? Deputy Mayor.
A few comments with respect to the YMCA. I was at their Board of Directors meeting last night and they were obviously happy that we will be replacing that heat recovery unit that's located on the top of the YMCA building now. I guess everybody around the council chambers got calls this past winter about the YMCA having to close because the pool area was too cold. The water was probably at a good temperature, but once you got out, it was really, really cold. This will alleviate all that. And good news for the residents of Grand Falls-Windsor and the surrounding areas who use the pool. And this winter, everything should go swimmingly, we'll say. Thank you.
Yeah, we
Mayor?
certainly hope so. It's you know, it's a town building, obviously, and we've had a long-term partnership with the YMCA and have done a number of capital projects on that facility over the years. I think it definitely speaks to, again, the need for us to continue down a path of looking at a new facility that would achieve maybe savings in the long run when it comes to looking at these kinds of maintenance things, but you have to do it. It's our pool, the only one available in town, and certainly the work is necessary. And we're happy to do it, and hopefully it does go as Deputy Mayor described. Any other comments on the second set of committee of the whole? Well, just a note there on Grand Falls House Foundation, the business plan is done, and we've had the opportunity to receive that recently. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to go through it, but I just want to let people know again that there's a meeting scheduled with the Grand Falls House Foundation on June the 6th, I believe. So upcoming, again, you'll see more information on that in the coming weeks. Last chance. No comments. We have a mover and a seconder. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Okay, now we have a tender summary that we will look to pass, and I'll call on Councillor Dwyer again, please.
Mayor, tender summary, Union Street upgrades, paving, project number 17-MYCW-23-00077. The committee reviewed the bids for project number 17-MYCW-23-00077 Union Street upgrades. The committee recommends this project be awarded to Penny Paving in the amount of $310,032.50 plus HST. This amount is $25,509.10 under the original estimated cost.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilor Dwyer, second by Deputy Mayor Brown. Any discussion on the tender summary? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Any notice of motion? No notice of motion. We'll move into other business, and I believe Councillor Cody, you're first up tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. The town cleanup has started. If you haven't noticed, the mounds and mounds and mounds of items that people have been disposing of, which is just goes to show what a great service that is, actually, that people can just leave that at their curb stop and have town employees be able to pick that up for them. Because of the volume, we are actually a day behind, but we still encourage our residents to, put their materials out, in time for the day of their pickup. 48 hours before is what we're saying is for your scheduled day. If you're still not sure of your day, it's posted on our Facebook page and on our website, and on Twitter, all the streets and the dates that your collection is scheduled for. So again, separate them the best that you can. There's no household garbage that'll be picked up. You still continue to use your regular garbage collection day to get rid of your normal recyclables and your household garbage. But anything extra that you have around the house that you're looking to get rid of, this would now be the time to do that. Line painting has started, we're hoping to start this week. All the dotting is now done. You'll notice that as you're driving around the streets. Weather depending, we're hoping to get started this week. I know it's supposed to be a nice couple days and then get wet again on the weekend and that. So hopefully we'll get that started and get moving on that. So you'll see some movement on that soon. As I was coming to the meeting tonight, I noticed our staff are putting up some of the banners of our veterans from our community that the Legion is a project that the Legion and the town has been working on, and they're beautiful and they look fabulous. And it's just so nice to be able to recognize the veterans from this community and the sacrifices that they made and the contributions that they made to our community. So definitely a conversation piece for sure as you're walking or visiting. Walk down the road and have a look at those banners, read the names, and just take a moment of reflection to, and prayerful thanks, I guess, to the sacrifices that they did make. If you didn't have an opportunity to go see Mamma Mia, oh boy, did you ever miss out on a show. And I always get my tickets for the Sunday show because that's usually the last showing. They had the kinks worked out and why not. But Friday, when I flicked on Facebook and started seeing all the reviews of how great the show was, I was mad that I had to wait till Sunday to go see it. And had I had my time back, I probably would have picked up tickets for all 3 nights because it was just amazing. So I just want to say, a huge congratulations to all of the participants, whether it was set design, whether you were a lead in the show, whether you were in the band, whether you just handed out pamphlets or, typed the program or contributed to the artwork. Whatever you did, it was just absolutely amazing. And, I can't say enough about how wonderful it was. If you didn't know you were in Grand Falls, Windsor, you would have thought you were in New York on Broadway. It was, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm not the only person to have said that about the show. It was just that good. So congratulations. I know the amount of work that went into it, and it really showed. And so proud of everybody involved. And I know there's a lot of students graduating this year who were in the production. And it was a very emotional time for them, I have to say, especially on closing night. There was some tears on stage and, as they were saying their closing remarks and stuff. But it was just beautiful and so proud. And to Exploits Valley High, for providing the space and the actual resources and that to be able to do that, all the sponsors who participated. And I'm trying to put my hand on the names here now, and I hate it, but Jen Clark, Don Olford, Scott Sims, And I know there was one more. Sandra Gowdy, thank you, whoever said that. But yes, just the amount of time that they put into it as well, just to work with all the different groups. And then, you know, you're working with the band, you're working with the performers, you're working on the setup, you know, the set design and things like that. The Arts and Culture Center, Gordon Pinsent Center for the Arts, the sound was, whatever improvements they've done in that center, it was amazing. The sound was just beautiful. I know, Rick, you're one of the technicians there, so hats off to staff at the Gordon Pinsent Center for the Arts as well. Just very, very well done. So, again, just a huge congratulations. Thank you, Mayor.
Yep, no, thanks for that. Councillor Noel.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to add to Councillor Cody there, I mean, at Exploits Valley High, just goes to show the amount of talent, raw talent that exists in our community of Grand Falls-Windsor, and the high school is just reflective of the whole community spirit again, and it's just a great opportunity to bring so many people together with diverse backgrounds and different levels of confidence, and to gel them together in a huge production. Just speaks, you know, to volumes to the people who put so much effort behind the scenes for such a long period of time. It's exhausting. I mean, the teachers were involved and students, I mean, they were all tapped out that Monday. I mean, they were exhausted. Just to continue with the Exploits Valley High theme, I guess I want to give a huge shout out to a teacher down there, Mr. Mike Hodder, who's gone out of his way to develop a recreational facility, not just for Exploits Valley High, but the whole east end of town, I guess, the Granville Heights and the subdivision down and Granville Estates. You know, outside now is a big soccer field, there's a, you know, basketball court outside, there's a beach volleyball court, a couple little you know, ring toss events, and you know, lots of seating available out there. And the next phase of it, I guess, is a huge outdoor walking track that's available not just to the students at Exploits Valley High, but to all of the residents who live in that area to avail of after school hours. I mean, just he's gone so far. He worked diligently securing all sorts of funds from outside and done quite well at that to do this project. I really want to give a hats off to the gentleman who's shown, you know, with a bit of leadership and some vim and vigor, you know, you can really succeed if you have the drive. So thanks, Teacher Mike Hodder. Just want to mention again, as I usually do on these public events, a little rant on the garbage. So, you know, I'm never, hopefully one of these days some councillor in the future will get up and say there is no garbage in the town. I can only hope that that occurs. But this is a special treat for everybody's. Saturday, I was fooling around the garage and ran short on something, and wife said, I got to run in town for a second. So I was only gone in town, no less than 15 minutes. Just didn't have it, so I turned around and came back home. And cruising down Granville Heights, there was a traffic ahead of us. And then as they disappeared, I passed something in the middle of the road. I said, no, that wasn't. And so I pulled over and let the traffic go by, and I went out, and sure it was. And it was this, right in the middle of Granville Heights, and it was still rather warm, and I was pretty hungry at the time. But I contemplated fresh. Right? And not to be dramatic, but you see this person had just taken like a bite out of the pizza and lobbed it out the window of the vehicle right in the middle of Granville Heights. The rest was sad. So I drove by. And it floors me, Mayor. It just blows my mind that somebody could drive down and have 2 bites out of the pizza. I don't want the rest of that. And down goes the window, and out it goes, and then they drive away. You know, that's when I asked the residents. I mean, you've got to begin to change the mindset. We've got a beautiful community. We've got a world-class river, and I rant on this all the time, but to do this was above and beyond. And it, you know, I was telling the students today, and they were kind of floored. And some of them are guilty, you know, and they'll say, sir, I've done that in the past, you know, sort of stuff. They fess up to it now. But anyway, I just wanted to make mention to the public about going above and beyond. If you know somebody, try to convince them to change the habit. I mean, we just mentioned that we got 1,000 bags of garbage plus picked up, and that's down, right? So we have made improvements. We're picking up less garbage, but to say that we still got 1,000 bags that we picked up, is still a pretty sad testament to people who grew up in a very, very beautiful community. And I'd just like to end, Mayor, again, with public safety. On the way down here this evening, passing through the construction zone on Scott Ave, there was piles of traffic, and a middle-aged individual was walking on the wrong side of the road, and I really didn't want her to become a hood ornament, but I mean, it was only for a second for somebody. When texting and driving is a problem, but you know, someone could have sneezed anything at all, and this person was right on the edge of the asphalt, very close, and just a split second, and your life is ruined. So please, residents, you know, walk on the left-hand side so you're facing traffic, and if you're bicycling, you bicycle with traffic. Teach your children, and you know, if you know your spouse or significant other, your mom and dad are out doing some walking, just make sure that they're on the right side of the road going forward, because we don't want to add a bit of misery to anybody's existence. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Knoll. Yeah, and it was covered there in one of our sets of minutes that we're hoping to crack down a little on littering if we can. It's difficult because you have to catch someone like literally red-handed in order for it to go through the process of courts and actually getting someone to pay a fine. But we understand that if we can get some tickets issued, $500 and $1,000, that maybe that is a deterrent for some people to smarten up, I guess, and stop being so disrespectful, I guess, to the environment and to our community. So well said there, sir. And congratulations to Mike Hatter. I know he had called me about a year and a half ago or so, and maybe even a little more than that now, and when he was starting this project, and you know, the town, as always, did provide a bit of in-kind support down there, and just a wonderful project. He had a vision, and he did not, you know, he wasn't going to be stopped, right? And he's got it done, and it's great, especially for the school. You mentioned the residents, but just to have a high school with really no outdoor rec facilities, and now to have that play field and the track and everything else is great. So congratulations and thanks to him. Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of items. One is, of course, the Fire and Emergency Services Training School is on in Grand Falls-Windsor as we speak. It started last weekend and it's going on until this weekend coming. There's 400 to 500 participants in town, and there's 24 different courses being offered. So we wish them all the best and good luck in their courses and their training. And also, Mayor, as we know, this is ramping up to dirt bike, quad, and side-by-side season. And we just want just to mention to the operators of these vehicles, please obey all rules and regulations of the road. Take their time, especially in residential areas. I know they're trying to get through them into the trails and vice versa coming back. But we just ask them to please be cognizant of the area and the rules of the road. And if they're not quite sure, you can phone their local RCMP detachment or our Chief of Municipal Enforcement, Russ Tebow, at 489-0411, and would help them, you know, with, if they're not quite sure of their rights and regulations. Also, Mayor, if I may, on the topic of the garbage, I must say, we just finished the Multi-Material Stewardship Board and, of course, Central Waste Management Board audit of the garbage in Grand Falls-Windsor just recently. The results came back. The first one that was done a year and a half ago, we were about over 65% compliance. Right now, we're below 50. We've dropped a lot, and we're just asking the residents, be cognizant of what goes where, you know, in your blue bags, and because if you accidentally put garbage in your blue bag, it's cross-contaminated, that goes to the landfill, and vice versa. So we're asking the residents, please be cognizant of it, because we got a state-of-the-art building down at North Zone. We can actually recycle and sort all recyclables in Atlantic Canada. That's the type of building it is. So we're asking people, you know, to make sure that what goes supposed to go in the blue bag goes there, and recycle anything that's supposed to go there. Reduce what's going out in our landfill. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, good point again, and of course that is information again that is available through our Facebook page, website, etc. There's a long list of materials that are eligible for the blue bag, and I'm sure that a lot of people may not realize how many things can go into the blue bags, and as you mentioned, keep the garbage out of them, because once you do, it's all going to the landfill, even the stuff that you wanted to recycle, so good point there. Councillor Dwyer, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to give a little update on the Health Accord Coalition Committee. We met, a subcommittee of the committee met yesterday, and we have a meeting coming up this week. Physician recruitment and retention is still a very important topic for us, and the Shalloway family physician group met here in Grand Falls-Windsor this past weekend, and we hosted them at the ski chalet, provided some activities for them as well in their off time. So that was great. There was 35 family physicians here, so hopefully we made an impression in terms of what we have to offer here in Grand Falls-Windsor. With respect to the firefighters as well, I wanted to speak a little bit about the youth firefighters. They're closing up their training. I think next week they started their training in February, so very extensive. I know Amy's daughter is involved in that as well. There were 32 of them at the beginning. I'm not sure how many they have. Same, 32, yeah. So they've done a lot of training with respect to ladders and ropes and knots. They did some fundraising for muscular dystrophy, and they had some first responder training and seminars, and excellent program, and they'll be graduating next week or so. So excellent. We really appreciate what they did, and hopefully someday they will become firefighters, and we certainly appreciate what our firefighters do. We had a fire this past week in town, and there was an active call, and this group of youth firefighters actually went back to the station after and helped them clean up. So teaches them, a lot about teamwork and respect and how to follow orders and that sort of thing. So it was a great program, and we certainly appreciate what they did. One last thing, I'd just like to throw a shout out to Vera and Brian Blackmore, who are celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary this month. Thank you.
Yes, and renewed their vows
Yeah, they
as well,
did.
I understand. Very well-known citizens, of course, Brian and Vera, and active in the community. With youth firefighters, I always think about Bob Down, who's passed now, and I know Bob was a longtime firefighter, and it was sort of like his vision to get that youth firefighters program up and running. And at first, it kind of started slow, but then the coincidental part about students in high school all of a sudden having to have these community hours, which came about probably 15 years ago or so. And, this is perfect fit for people who need their hours. They'd go to youth firefighters throughout the year, get their 30 hours, and job done. But it was amazing to me how that program has grown into so much more, and the people who went there just to get their community hours, how much they enjoyed it and how much they learned. And there's no doubt that the recruitment for the fire department has been aided because of that program. I know several current firefighters who went through that program, and it's great to be able to do that. And as you said, all the other skills and that it teaches as well. So, just thinking about Bob Down right now, and he used to attend the ceremony every single year up until his passing, and, it was his vision, and I know he's very proud of it. Deputy Mayor Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of items. Had a chance to visit with representatives of the community garden this past week, and to say the least, the place out there is expanding to its full potential. They're busting at the seams there. They got 60 new beds going in this year. They got a program to grow vegetables for the food bank and the food kitchen. Which they'll pass on to those two organizations in the fall, and certainly and a waiting list to go along with it all. So a very popular community project. Congratulations to Wayne Thomas, who has spearheaded the effort in the last few years for sure, and to Cyril Tubbert for his constructing, volunteering to construct all the beds and that kind of stuff. They used the curling club for that, and just a great community project going on out there. And congratulations to Wayne and Cyril and everybody involved in the community garden. It's blooming, that's right. Blooming at the seams too. I think they've run out of space actually, and looking for more space now in the coming years to accommodate the waiting list that has grown over the years as well. Secondly, Mayor, some exciting news out of the sports community, I guess. I guess it was 2016, first when I was elected to council. The mayor called me aside one day and said, we'd like to get a project going to honor all the well-known athletes from Grand Falls-Windsor who ended up in their respective Hall of Fames. And so 2016, this is 2023, we had, it was a long road.
Everything
We had-
is.
Yes, it is so. We had many people involved, and of course, when we get one project done, as our Director of Community Services tell you, I said, we really can't leave that at, we gotta go on, so. A lot of good community residents involved, including Bruce Andrews, who sort of spearheaded the event and did a lot of good work, as our director will tell you, into this project. So the Hall of Fame is done. There's a great display of sports and all the sports that in Grand Falls-Windsor, some great pictures. That's located back in the back of the Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium. We'll have his grand opening during the Salmon Festival dinner. Also during the Salmon Festival dinner, we're going to retire some hockey sweaters for individuals who grew up in Grand Falls-Windsor and went on to play professional hockey. So the following sweaters will be retired. And the first one's Tony White. Played minor hockey in Grand Falls-Windsor, went on to play with the Washington Capitals for seasons, and their AHL affiliate. Scored 25 goals in his rookie season.
26?
26, thank you, Mayor. And just an incredible professional hockey career. Tony White's living in British Columbia now. Don House, who also went through the Grand Falls-Windsor Minor Hockey Association, had a great career with the Nova Scotia Voyageurs, and went on to play with the Los Angeles Kings. His sweater will be retired too. Terry Ryan, of course, went to play hockey with the with the Minnesota Fighting Saints in the World Hockey Association. Had a great career. Terry Ryan was probably one of certainly the best or most elite athletes that grew up in Grand Falls-Windsor, in my opinion.
In Newfoundland.
In Newfoundland too, that's right, not just Grand Falls-Windsor. He went on to play professional hockey, but he very well could have played professional baseball. And Terry was a neighbor of mine growing up. He grew up on Pine Avenue. And any sport he took up, he was just elite at it. And we remember his baseball days playing with the Shamrocks against our Beatric teams here, and just an incredible athlete back then even. And the other individuals, Brian Casey, who had a professional hockey career as well and played a lot of seasons with Team Canada all over the world. And his sweater will be retired. And Jim Munch, a lot of people probably don't remember Jim Munch, but just a fantastic hockey player. Munch's shoe store that used to be on Main Street in Windsor, he's of that family. And Jim went on to have a professional hockey career in Germany. Moved back to Germany and played for several years, played pro hockey over there. And certainly, last but not least, Stan Coffin, who I guess was involved in minor hockey, and I was coaching back in the 80s, and he was involved in minor hockey then and doing some good work. Most people will remember the last 2 decades of the Cataracts, Stan being at the helm, and some of the most successful decades for the Cataracts too. Several Herder Championship trophies, an Allen Cup Championship trophy, and we look forward to retiring Stan's sweater as well. So some great news, Mayor. Should be an exciting salmon dinner with all those individuals. Terry Ryan is going to speak at the dinner and reminisce about the 75-year history of the Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium, and certainly a lot of stuff went on in that stadium, not just hockey, but broomball and curling and the dances and the recreation centers growing up in Grand Falls-Windsor. It was well attended down there. I remember going down the summers myself. So should be a great occasion at the salmon dinner. We look forward to Terry Ryan saying a few words, and I can promise you that'll be exciting. And keeping him at a few words might be an issue.
No such thing as Terry Ryan saying a few words.
But should be just a great event, and long overdue to have those gentlemen who, like I said, learned their hockey in the Grand Falls-Windsor Minor Hockey Association and went on to have professional hockey careers. Thank you, Mayor.
No, very well said, and Terry will be entertaining for sure. He's one of the best storytellers you'll ever want to listen to, and as you said, just a great athlete. And you know, Stan Coffin, you mentioned his years with the Cataracts, and previous to that, people may not know, but he was heavily involved with the AAA midget hockey team back in the 90s and was the backbone of that. I don't know if Stan ever strapped on a pair of skates in his life, but he was the person in the background behind those teams, and even back in minor hockey, who was the financial person who built all the partnerships with the local businesses, getting advertising, sponsorships, organizing all the 50-50s and the chocolate pucks and all the things that you need to do, and no one did it better. And he's still involved in some capacity, I know, and and it's good to hear that it's decided to have him recognized during that ceremony as well. So we're looking forward to that. I just got a few things here to clue up. Since our last meeting, we have announced our Salmon Festival details for this year, and much like it has been last year, and I guess back in 2019, which was the last time prior to last year we were able to have it, keeping it totally local. The details on the Salmon Festival can be found at www.evsalmonfestival.com, and there you'll find the schedule of events, all the things that are going on all weekend from Thursday, starting with the salmon dinner. And you mentioned that Terry Ryan, that's when he will be there speaking, and we will be doing that jersey retirement. So for those who want to be a part of that, I'd encourage you to act quickly to get your Salmon Festival dinner tickets, because they do go quickly. And that'll go right till Monday's Family Day. And again, we got a wonderful Family Day. There's going to be a free day. We get thousands of people out every year on Centennial Field. And remind me who we have on Family, pardon me? The Irish Descendants are going to be playing free at our Family Day this year, so that's great. And all the things that are going on in between, we made a conscious effort, of course, to make sure that, we've got our different nights, whether it be wing night or what do we had this year? It's Food from Around the World night. And we got our comedy night, and there's a pub crawl and things that, you purchase a ticket and you have to pay a bit to attend those. But we've got a bunch of things that are free. And one of the main things that everybody's looking forward to is in Church Road Park on Friday evening, we're going to have the Ennis Sisters playing in the park, and again, free of charge. So I'm sure there'll be a huge crowd there for that. There's going to be river rafting, zip lining, food events, salmon ladder events. There's, I can't go through it all in my mind. Now, Songwriters Circle always, it's already sold out? Wow. So it just goes to show, and we heard from residents the last few years, all of us, that people had enjoyed the change, and that, they have had some of the better times that they've had ever at salmon festivals, and that's saying something, going back, almost 40 years now that salmon festivals have been going. So again, get the details, check on when tickets are going on sale, and check out all the free events and other things that are going on. The Heritage Mug Up, I guess, is another thing that will be going ahead at the theater again, which is always entertaining. Just follow up, I guess, on the community garden. You mentioned they got a lot of work done. The beds, the extra 60 beds and the new gazebo that they have out there actually was constructed by employees from Brook Construction at a Corner Brook. And Brook Construction is a company that has a contract with Marathon Gold. But because the road wasn't sufficient to get their equipment and gear and them into the site in recent weeks, Brook Construction decided that they would allow their carpenters to do work around Grand Falls-Windsor for organizations that would like them to do that. And they built the gazebo, they did the beds, they did some work at the Y2C Center. I know at Corridor Brook, people who used the trail, they put in a brand new set of stairs that was desperately needed, and a piece of boardwalk leading to those stairs on what we call the Scout Pond Trail. So, they deserve to be commended for doing that and donating all that time, and it's work that probably wouldn't have got done. Of course, the materials were taken care of by the organizations, but they donated their time and their expertise. A couple things coming up in the near future. We've got Friday, I believe it's the outdoor classroom that is going to be tomorrow? Okay. I got to look in order to figure it all out, because it's, yes, Woodland Primary got an outdoor classroom that they've been working on for some time now. I know Nancy Barry, who's retiring this year, and has been working towards that for years, really, and another project that just takes a long while. So it's an outdoor classroom for the children of Woodland Primary to enjoy and get some outdoor education. And that will be a grand opening tomorrow at 1. I do remember the time, just the wrong day. So I'm glad I mentioned it. So congratulations to Nancy, Barry, and all the people who had something to do with that. And finally, just for those who may be interested, on Saturday afternoon at the Armories, there will be the annual review for the cadets. And that is open to the public if people want to go, and the cadets will be in their best form, and we'll go through their inspections. And anybody who wants to come enjoy that, it's 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, so I wanted to mention that as well. And with that, I don't have anything else. I'm assuming everybody else is done, and I'll call for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Cody, second by Councillor Knoll. All those in favor? Aye. Can't remind it. Meeting adjourned. We'll see you next time.
To the wonderful town of Grand Falls, Windsor.
My name is Trevor Tuck. I'm a beekeeper and owner of Tuck's Bee Better Farm. So we're a honeybee farm that we produce honeybee products. We do pollination services for berry farms, and we also then do some educational things and likewise for school groups and different organizations that want to learn about bees.
My name is Dan Penny, and I'm in the car business. I'm a car dealer. So originally I purchased a plot of land on the corner of Cromer and the Trans-Canada Highway for the car dealership. Then realized there was a large parcel of land behind that building. It seemed like a good opportunity to do a relatively small-scale commercial development. It's a 16-acre development, and we have 7 lots, varying sizes, that we're now developing into a small business park. And we're well along the way with that now.
People are becoming more aware of that, more food conscious. They want to buy healthy, buy local. By working together, they're supporting local farmers. I can ensure that they're going to get a good price for their berries. We work together. They need my bees, I need their berries. We produce products then that become in demand both here locally, provincially, nationally, and internationally. We've had inquiries from all over. So by being able to work together, we're able to grow the economy here for central Newfoundland, for Newfoundland as a whole.
The town is very pleasant to deal with, very professional, efficient. They respond quickly. They're pro-business, pro-development. And the town is such a lovely town as well. And when you add together the geographic convenience of Grand Falls-Windsor with the amenities in healthcare and education and so on, it's just a hub of activity, a beehive of activity, and it's quite impressive.
The town has been super supportive. You know, they've been very encouraging and yeah, been very helpful with the advancement of the business and helping out like with you know, land and yeah, anything that's been basically that I've asked, they've really been on board with this. I guess they see the importance of the honeybees. You know, they understand that worldwide need for it, the unique situation we have here and the opportunity.
It's perfectly centered because from Grand Falls-Windsor you can drive to Corner Brook in less than 3 hours. You can drive to St. John's in 4.5 hours. It's so convenient.
Like the bees, we're all starting to work together for the better of the community as a whole. Us as individuals, our ability to accomplish something may be quite small, but working together, we're able to do some really large things.